I have a simple rule to identify if you have a why or if you don't have it. Because when you found your why, you know it exactly. And this is how you know it. When you don't have your why, you say yes to everything.
Welcome to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, Shahid Durrani. Today we have with us Simon Severino. Simon has created $2+ billion in additional sales for his clients over the past 21 years. And as an advisor he had to learn the importance of working on the business. Now he shares his proven templates with high ticket driven entrepreneurs. Welcome to our show, Simon.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Your approach is around the strategy sprints method. Can you walk us through how entrepreneurs can identify and eliminate time wasters or time wasting activities, achieve better growth?
The main problem is that running a business is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard because there are so many moving parts.
Yeah.
And so if you tackle them all at once, you burn out.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to identify of all the moving parts, marketing, operations, sales, hiring, which one is right now the most important to solve. Because if I solve that right now, that creates 80% of the progress that I need to create.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, I will focus on just that one bottleneck. Solve that first, and then when that is solved next week, we will solve the next thing. This is the strategy sprints method.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, you have to simplify the business into just 3 parts and measure it with fewer metrics, only 3 metrics. That's what we do in the beginning. And when you do that, now you have clarity, you have a calmness, and now you can start thinking, okay, of all the things that I'm doing, and which ones are really moving stuff forward and which ones are just busy, but they're not really creating cash flow or growth. So what we do is I write down my tasks, and I will share this tool that I use with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a free tool. We call it a daily flow. I write down, okay, how did I spend my time today? 7 a.m. I did this, 8 a.m. I did this, 9 a.m. I did this. And then in the evening, so 6 p.m., I close down the day. And before I close down literally the computer, this thing is asking me 2 reflective questions. Simon, what of all the tasks that you did today, which one will you delegate next? And Simon, if you would live more freely and more intentionally, what would you do tomorrow? So I reflect on these 2 things, I close down the day, and I start writing down what I will be doing tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I don't know is the weather of tomorrow, but I will decide a rough flow of the next day. Then I close my computer, I go cooking, I meet friends. Next day, I go to my desk, and now I have a flow of things that I've decided yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I can sit down and be immediately productive. This is how I do it. And I think this can be a good process for everyone who runs a business, because by doing that, you find your time wasters. And so bit by bit, when something pops up once, maybe you just still do it. But if it pops up twice, now you might want to give it to a software or to a person. This is the daily flow, one of the many tools that we use. And this is how I use it. And people can download it, by the way, on strategysprints.com. It's free to download.
Awesome. Is there some kind of a science behind organizing a day once you end your day to define tomorrow before you call it a day?
There are many sciences. I don't want to bore the audience,
You
but there
won't
are
bore
many
us.
sciences feeding into this. There is
Okay.
behavioral science, there is psychology, there is athletics.
Uh-huh.
There are many reasons why this process works. And there are many practices that have been here for decades that we're building on this. One is GTD, getting things done. Another thing is how athletes perform, and also how tech teams break down work into chunks of time blocks. So when something is big, you feel overwhelmed. If I say, hey, let's write a book, that's huge, it's terrible. But if you break it down and say, okay, this week, let's write the first 200 words of the book proposal. Now, okay, I can do that in a week, right? So you break it down into 12 weeks, you might get towards the book, but each week feels manageable, doable, and you are proud. When Friday comes, you have some results, you can clap yourself, you make some funny sounds, and then you say, yeah, guys, we did it. Congrats. High five, leaderboard. Have a great weekend.
That's
That's
true.
the difference. Yeah.
Once you can break it down to small chunks, you can continue to celebrate on a regular basis. That also increases the momentum.
Yes, because if you don't have that, and this is another science, it's called the science of flow. What creates flow in teams? And the surname of the author of the book Flow is Csikszentmihalyi, and it's a very complicated name to write down or to read, but it's Csikszentmihalyi, and he wrote a book called Flow. And he analyzes what makes people stay in flow. Flow means it's an effortless, natural state, no stress, but you are highly active and highly productive. So flow is when you play basketball with friends, or you're biking with your kids, or you're cooking. This is flow. You're doing things, but it doesn't feel like effort.
It doesn't feel like work.
It's natural. It's natural. When you're in flow, you forget to have a break because, you are just into it, into the thing that you're doing.
Simon, that's a very good point. Yeah, having that flow in your business, and flow is directly linked to the level of fulfillment and gratefulness that you feel within. Sometimes I may say, I want to create flow, and I may take the steps to create flow, but within, if I'm frustrated or if my energy is towards my current results and they're not where I want them to be, or there's some other family issue, it's hard to get that state of gratefulness and fulfillment to create that flow. Could you help anybody in the audience that might be listening and having that thought pattern that it's easier said than done? What could I do to instill that factor within to make that flow happen?
It's a great question. So let's say you have a bad day, your kids are having terrible temper, didn't sleep, and now you should perform in your business. So two things that I do. We have a focus card. On that focus card, there is everything that's important on one page. There is the 3 years vision, the 1 year goals, and the 90 days activities is on one page. It's this orange thing here for people who are watching. This orange thing is the focus card. So that it's like a compass. You have your north there, whatever your north is. And this is where your why comes from and your purpose and why you do what you do. So that motivates you and gives you the long perspective. And it's also broken down into 90 days activities. That's one piece. The other piece is actually the daily flow, where I say, okay, in the morning, I have some deep work. Before I have deep work, I spend time with my kids and I play chess and I make breakfast for them before they go to school. So the day has a meaning. It is linked to your overall purpose. That gives you the power to do it. Because when you have a why, you always have the power. You find power, right? Because you are riding the wave of your why. This is what you're supposed to do. So there is always energy when you are on your why. And then there is stuff happening, and there's stuff happening all the time. Something breaks, somebody quits, there is people leaving your team, there is something personal happening. That's life is messy. So the day is compartmentalized, and that helps you. You have your overall why, and now stuff will explode and go wrong all the time during the week, but it's okay because you go, okay, I'm tackling this 2 p.m. I'm tackling this 6 p.m. My friend's wife has cancer. Okay, hey, 7 p.m. dinner for them. So up until 7 p.m., I can still be in flow and do whatever I have to do. But 7 p.m., everything is down. Okay, let's cook for them. We have to sit with them. I don't know if that answers your question, but this is how I deal with things.
It does. And that also links to another question that came to mind is the why factor. Sometimes we believe the why that we have maybe is the why that they should be going after, but really it's not the why. Maybe it's the environment causing us to make that our why, or because some gurus or some people they're following said their why is that way, that they pick that why. For example, just the confusion that some entrepreneurs may have within, they're just not sure. They pick a why, they're feeling like that's my why, but they're not really sure because they don't feel that energy or that flow when they're working. And they have a why, they're paying attention to it, they see it, they believe it, they're excited, but they still don't sense that flow. They don't sense what a lot of experts and people are talk about, what that flow state is. Do you have any kind of recommendations for someone that could take a step back and analyze the why and really make sure if that's the why that they're meant to go after?
I have a simple rule to identify if you have a why or if you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you found your why, you know it exactly. And this is how you know it. When you don't have your why, you say yes to everything.
Mm-hmm. So look at the identifiers in your life to determine if it's the right why, correct?
Hey, would you fly to my city and speak in front of my people? Yeah, sure. Then I don't have a why. When I don't have a why, I say yes to everything. And it's the correct thing to do because you are exploring and you are open for everything. You have to receive. And then at some point, okay, you do this and that and that and that. And now you feel that something is changing inside of you. Now you are saying no to everything. Because you want to protect your sacred time for what you feel inside that you're here to build. It feels completely different.
Yeah. No,
If
definitely.
you go, oh, yes. Or if it goes, no, block my time. I want to sit down and finish this.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying.
That's the person who found their why.
Yeah. It's so obvious that you just feel it all over your body. But I know there's many that don't get there. They might have that confusion. So I wanted to see if we can serve someone out there or help them with that confusion. Thank you so much for pointing that out, because the identifiers don't lie. Like they're obvious. You see them, you feel them.
It's really trying out stuff. And then when you feel that in the body, now it's changing and it's saying, no, I have to sit down and finish this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
now
awesome.
You why.
Yeah. So happy as a dog and fast as a cheetah. I love that, by the way, for one of the keynotes. Can you help to share how we can integrate the concept of happiness and speed in our growth strategies, and why is it so important for entrepreneurs out there?
So speed in itself can be very confusing and is of no good. But speed, including the direction of the speed, that's called velocity in physics. And this is what matters. Velocity means you are going in the right direction at the right pace. When you have velocity, Everything clicks. You are aligned. What you want to do and what you're doing is completely aligned. That's flow. And this is when you are happy and fast. Some people are just fast, and you want to say, hey, come on, calm down.
My late mentor would say, you speed up, but slow down. It's like there's a sense of urgency, but you sense of urgency, but you're calm. Everything is just calm. There's no storm happening. It's just calm, and then you speed up with that calmness.
That is happiness, right? And it's a calm productivity.
Yeah.
And then there is this busyness where you see people all rushing around, but you see them a year later, they're still rushing around.
Yeah.
And nothing happened in between. They're just rushing around. That's it.
That was the old me.
Yes. And I was like that, and I was in planes all the time. I'm flying here, I'm flying there, I'm flying there. I'm so busy. I was doing nothing. And then I was lucky because the pandemic came, and then so my planes were stopped. And now I had for the first time the chance to reflect and say, wait a moment, what do I do now with all this time that I have? And that was a blessing. And and you can start this earlier. You can sit down and say, hey, wait a moment, what is it that I want to move forward here actually? Cool. And that is happy as a dog. And there are some elements. Now we can break down into how you move there. So I like to think of stage 1 is I'm underwater like a turtle. I don't have time. Those people, in that stage, they say, I'm underwater. I don't have time. Yeah, I would love to do it, but I don't have time. And they're also not building up that mental space and that wealth that gives you that mental space. So they're living paycheck to paycheck. The savings rate is below 10% per month. And they're not building prospecting systems, sales systems that fill pipeline, and they're not closing deals every week with the right people. So that's turtle stage. Now from turtle stage to cheetah stage, you fill out your daily flow and your focus card. Now you have a direction. As soon as you have a direction, you feel the energy bursting. You wake up 2 hours earlier than usual. And everybody goes, why are you waking up so early? Yeah, because I can't wait to start. I want to write. I want to record. I want to tell. I want to build. This is cheetah energy. It's high intensity.
I love it.
These people need almost no sleep. Like my mentor sleeps 3 hours at night. And he says he doesn't need more because he's in this cheetah mode. Now, cheetah is fun for you because you're building stuff. But the people around you, it's not so fun to live with a cheetah, actually. It's to be with a person who is always in high intensity, it's a bit intense. So stage 3 is, yes, to stay on your lane and build what you have to build, but also to write it down, systematize. We call it SOP, standard operating procedures. Now we write down how you do marketing, how you do sales, how you do operation, and help you delegate that. So it's still running at high speed, but it's not you running everything. Now this is when you shift from cheetah to dog, happy as a dog, because you are still happy because everything is going really fast and moving forward, but you are not responsible for everything and you are not driving everything. You can also enjoy it, look at it and say, oh, I love how this is growing. Congrats, guys. You built some really cool stuff this week. Now, happy weekend. So this is how you move from turtle stage to cheetah stage to dog stage. And between dog and cheetah, there will always be an oscillation back and forth. I have weeks where I'm cheetah intensity. Website breaks. I have to go back to cheetah mode. This thing needs to be repaired over the next 2 days. But then the week after, I can move back to dog and I can say, okay, guys, now it's repaired. Who takes it over for maintenance?
Good. Excellent answer and information. Another concept that intrigued me was the return on luck, ROL. That's pretty cool. I want to know how you define luck in the context of business. Like for me, there's a famous quote. They're saying luck is a word that we made up to explain the unexplained. Something like that. I'm not sure if that's verbatim. I can't remember who said it, to be honest, but it's something that kept with me. And what I believe, and the people that we work with, is that once you have your thoughts, feelings, and actions, your attitude in place, then you start experiencing more lucky opportunities. And lucky opportunity could be something that someone spontaneously appears when you need them, or some kind of introduction happens, some sense of serendipity, circumstances. And I personally experience it. And once people that we work with as well, once their vibration is at a higher rate, they have the right attitude about business and what they do on a daily basis and what they do moment to moment, it reflects on how they progress in business. So I'm really interested to hear from you what this means to you, and if you can elaborate, please.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see when these things happen.
Yeah.
Wow, what a coincidence
Yeah.
this is happening right
It's
now.
no coincidence, though, I don't believe.
And when it rains, it pours. Like in
Yeah.
that week, then you get a lot of business.
Yeah.
And you go, where is this coming from?
Mm.
Because now you are ready for it.
Mm.
There is a science behind that.
Yes.
There's a guy called Richard Wiseman who has researched that on an academic level in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And he found that lucky people have specific lucky behaviors.
And they self-identify as lucky too.
They don't call themselves that way. They go, oh yeah, for them it's normal. But
Yeah.
other people looking at them go, why are you so lucky?
Yeah.
And they go, I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I? And so he looked at their behavior, and there was specific patterns. One of them is that they take calculated risk frequently. So they don't have one project for a year. They have multiple little things that they risk, they try out. Most of them go wrong, but for them it's normal because they know they're experimenting. So they do multiple, we would call them A/B tests, right? And in a sprint week, we do multiple A/B tests during the week. So one sprint cycle is 12 weeks, so 12 times we will test stuff that's taking multiple moments, multiple risks.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take calculated risks frequently, you do a lot of little mistakes, but you are learning because some of them will go well. And I found something. And then everybody says, you're lucky, you found something. But actually, there were many experiments that went wrong. But the lucky behavior is to be okay with those frequently
How you respond.
being wrong.
How you respond
Yes.
to it.
Yes, it's okay. I tried this. It didn't work. The lucky person says, yeah, it's true. It didn't work.
But don't you agree,
And
Simon, that the more you're okay with challenges, meaning you don't resist as much to what comes your way, the more you experience lucky circumstances?
Absolutely. So people ask me, Simon, why is your podcast top 2% of your podcasts, business podcasts worldwide? And I say, it's very simple. Because 98% of the people gave up too early. They just give up. And then the top 2%, they just stay in the game because everybody else is giving up. And why are they giving up? So it's not about quality, who has the better podcast.
Great point.
It's just that they give up. And why do
Yes.
they give up? So 98% of podcasters never get to 100 episodes.
Yeah, very true.
Why do they don't get to 100 episodes? Because after 10 episodes, they go, I measured, the response is low.
Yeah.
This is a failure.
That's similar in business as well. People give up.
They give up too early. In business,
Yeah.
I had a boss in Switzerland, in St. Gallen, who taught me something really important. He was the leadership guru in St. Gallen. And the CEOs would fly to him to learn from him. And I was in that room and I heard a lot of his advice. And one thing that he said is, he said this to the CEO of one of the biggest global companies. And he said, capitalism is not a game where you win if you optimize profits. Capitalism is a game like Monopoly, where you win if you stay liquid, if you stay in the game. The one who wins is the one who has enough liquidity to do more rounds. Every time you make a round, you have to pay something. So if you happen to tap on the wrong things, you have to pay. So you stay in the game as long as you can pay. So he said it's a game of liquidity, and it's a game of staying in the game. That's the goal, not maximizing profits or revenues. It's staying in the game.
Great point.
And I think it's right.
Yes,
our world is
I
built
agree.
on credit and on liquidity. So you stay in the game long enough, your competitors will give up, go insolvent, you gain market shares.
Yes. Yes. Simon, that was great, my friend. I could talk about this stuff forever, and I appreciate your time today and how we tried to add value out there, because a little information, there could be something that we talked about today that can make a profound impact in someone's life. And in my transformations, there was always that something, that statement somebody said or I heard that just made that little change in my flow. So I hope we delivered that somewhere. And I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing for people. And definitely keep in touch, Simon.
Thank you for showing up for your community with
pleasure.
consistency, and keep rolling.
Thank you, brother. Take care.